The morning Dr. Sarah Chun received the signal that would change everything started like any other at the Arecibo 2 facility in Puerto Rico. She sipped her coffee while reviewing the overnight data streams, expecting nothing more than the usual cosmic background noise and occasional pulsar signals that had become as familiar as her own heartbeat over 15 years of SETI research. At 6:47 a.m. local time, her computer screen flickered with an anomaly that made her coffee cup freeze halfway to her lips. The signal was unlike anything in the databases, a complex, mathematically precise transmission that pulsed with intelligence so obvious it practically screamed across the void of space. "This can't be right," Sarah whispered, her fingers flying across the keyboard to verify the readings. The signal originated from the Proxima Centauri system, exactly 4.24 light-years away. What made her blood run cold wasn't just that humanity had finally received proof of extraterrestrial intelligence. It was that the signal was barely 4 hours old, meaning whatever sent it was already much closer than the nearest star. Within minutes, Sarah's secure line was buzzing with calls from NASA, the Pentagon, and observatories around the globe. The message had been received simultaneously by every major radio telescope on Earth. As translation protocols began running, the first decoded fragments sent shockwaves through the global scientific community. "Attention, primitive species of the third planet. Your 3,000-year period of unobserved development has concluded. Compliance with Galactic Council Protocol 847 is now mandatory. Prepare for assessment and potential harvest. Resistance will result in immediate planetary sterilization." Dr. Marcus Webb, the facility director, stood behind Sarah as more text scrolled across her screen. His face had gone pale, but his voice remained steady. "How long do we have?" Sarah's calculations painted a terrifying picture. Based on signal strength and transmission delay, they're already in our solar system, maybe hours away from Earth orbit. Across the planet, world leaders were awakened with news that would reshape human civilization forever. In the Pentagon Situation Room, General Patricia Hawkins spread star charts across a massive table while advisors argued about humanity's limited options. Earth's most advanced weapons suddenly seemed as primitive as stone axes against beings capable of interstellar travel. "We have approximately 16 nuclear submarines, 47 advanced fighter aircraft currently space-capable with modifications, and exactly 0 weapons designed for combat beyond Earth's atmosphere," reported Colonel James Mitchell, his military bearing unable to hide the desperation in his voice. Meanwhile, in a classified facility beneath NORAD, Dr. Elizabeth Hayes was running calculations that would have been considered science fiction mere hours earlier. Her team had been working on theoretical xenobiology protocols for decades, but nobody had expected to need them so soon. The first visual contact came at 11:23 a.m. when the Hubble telescope's emergency protocols activated. The images transmitted back to Earth showed massive ships emerging from behind the moon, vessels so large they cast shadows across entire continents. The lead ship alone was estimated to be over 40 kilometers in length, its surface gleaming with technology that made Earth's most advanced spacecraft look like paper airplanes. President Rebecca Martinez addressed the nation from the White House at noon, her words carefully chosen to prevent mass panic while acknowledging the reality of humanity's situation. "My fellow Americans and citizens of Earth, today we face a challenge unlike any in human history. We are not alone in the universe, and we must now prove ourselves worthy of survival." As the alien fleet settled into Earth orbit, smaller craft began descending through the atmosphere. These scout ships, each the size of a city block, took positions above major population centers. The message was clear: humanity was completely outgunned and surrounded. But in a research laboratory in Colorado, Dr. Amanda Foster was making a discovery that would prove crucial to humanity's survival. While analyzing the alien transmission protocols, she noticed something unusual in the data structure. The beings who had contacted Earth were not the original senders of older signals humanity had been receiving for decades. "These aren't the same aliens," Amanda told her team, pointing at side-by-side signal analyses. Someone else has been watching us, studying us for much longer. And these newcomers, they're not here because they discovered us. They're here because our Watcher's protection period just expired. The implications hit everyone in the room simultaneously. Earth hadn't been hidden from galactic civilization. It had been protected by someone else entirely. Now that protection was gone, and humanity was about to face their first real test as a spacefaring species, whether they were ready or not. As evening fell across the planet, the alien fleet began broadcasting on every frequency, television channel, and digital platform simultaneously. The message appeared in perfect English, Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, and dozens of other human languages, suggesting these beings have been studying Earth far longer than anyone had imagined. Humans of Earth, you have been granted 72 hours to demonstrate your worthiness to join galactic civilization. You will be tested on your military capability, technological advancement, and species-wide coordination. Failure in any category will result in your planet's classification as a resource extraction zone. Your population will be relocated to designated preservation facilities. The message continued with chilling efficiency. Your test will begin with the selection of champions. Choose your finest warriors, your brightest scientists, and your most capable leaders. They will represent your species in trials that will determine humanity's future among the stars. In military bases around the world, commanders began compiling lists of their most elite personnel. Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, SAS operators, Spetsnaz soldiers, humanity's finest warriors prepared for a conflict unlike anything they had trained for. Meanwhile, scientists raced to understand technology thousands of years beyond human capability, looking for any weakness or advantage that might tip the scales in their favor. Dr. Chun remained at her post through the night, monitoring alien communications and trying to decode additional information about humanity's mysterious former protectors. What she discovered in the deepest layers of the transmission data would change everything. Hidden frequencies that suggested some humans had been in contact with benevolent aliens for decades, secretly preparing for exactly this moment. As dawn broke on what might be humanity's last day as a free species, a small group of individuals around the globe began receiving encrypted messages on devices they didn't remember owning. The messages were simple, but world-changing. It's time. You know what to do. Humanity's real test begins now. Colonel Sarah Mitchell, one of the first to receive such a message, stared at the device that had somehow appeared in her locked office overnight. The message contained coordinates to a location in the Nevada desert and a single additional line: bring the others. The Watchers kept their promise. Now it's time for yours. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just Earth's fate, but humanity's place in a galaxy far more complex and dangerous than anyone had imagined. The 3,000 years of protective silence were over, and humanity's greatest test was about to begin. Across the planet, humanity's champions began moving toward their destiny, unaware that their species' survival would depend not just on their courage and skill, but on secrets that had been hidden in plain sight for generations. The aliens orbiting Earth had superior technology and numbers, but they had underestimated one crucial factor: humanity's capacity for surprise, adaptation, and the unbreakable bonds forged through millennia of struggle and survival. The countdown had begun, and in 71 hours and 37 minutes, the galaxy would discover what humans were truly capable of when fighting for their home, their freedom, and their future among the stars. Colonel Sarah Mitchell arrived at the Nevada coordinates 12 hours after receiving the mysterious message. The desert location appeared empty except for scattered rocks and endless sand, but as she approached the exact position, the ground began to shift. What she had taken for natural rock formations were actually camouflaged structures that had been hidden in the desert for decades. The underground facility that revealed itself was unlike anything in human military records. Clean, advanced technology lined the corridors, but it wasn't alien in design. It was human technology, just decades ahead of what the public knew existed. Sarah's confusion deepened when she encountered Dr. James Harrison, a physicist who had supposedly died in a laboratory accident 15 years earlier. "Welcome to Project Watchtower, Colonel," Dr. Harrison said, his appearance barely changed despite the years. "We've been waiting for this day, though we hoped it would never come." As Sarah was led deeper into the facility, she met 17 other individuals from around the globe, all people who had received similar messages, all with specialized skills that seemed impossibly relevant to humanity's current crisis. Among them was Captain Maria Santos, a pilot whose official record showed she had died in a training accident, and Dr. Chen Wei, a computer scientist who had vanished while researching quantum encryption. "You're all supposed to be dead," Sarah realized, looking around the assembled group. Dr. Harrison nodded grimly. Death was the only way to join this project. The Watchers needed humans who could work without government oversight or public scrutiny. "We've been preparing for this invasion for 3 decades. The briefing that followed revealed the truth about humanity's place in galactic politics. The Watchers were an ancient species called the Kethmore, beings who had achieved technological transcendence millions of years ago. They had appointed themselves guardians of younger species, protecting them during their vulnerable development periods. Earth had been under Kethmore protection for exactly 3,000 years, hidden from the galaxy's more aggressive civilizations. But the Galactic Council passed new laws, explained Dr. Elena Vasquez, a xenobiologist whose research had supposedly ended when her laboratory was destroyed. Species can no longer be protected indefinitely. After 3 millennia, worlds must either join galactic civilization or be classified as resource zones for harvest. Captain Santos pulled up holographic displays showing the true scope of humanity's situation. "The fleet above us belongs to the Zephyrians, a warrior species that specializes in planetary conquest. They've successfully harvested 47 worlds in the past century. Their technology is approximately 400 years ahead of public human capabilities. However," Dr. Harrison continued, "we've had 30 years to prepare with Kethmore guidance. They couldn't directly interfere with the testing, but they could ensure we had the tools needed to succeed. The facility's main laboratory housed technology that made science fiction look conservative. Weapons that fired concentrated plasma, armor that could absorb energy attacks, and, most importantly, spacecraft that had been built using a combination of human engineering and Kethmore principles." Sarah examined a sleek fighter craft that looked nothing like Earth's conventional aircraft. "How many of these do we have?" 56 combat vessels, 12 heavy cruisers, and 3 ships capable of faster-than-light travel, Captain Santos replied. "Plus weapons and equipment for ground operations that the Zephyrians won't expect us to possess." Dr. Wade demonstrated a communication system that could tap directly into the Zephyrian command network. "They're using standard galactic protocols, which the Kethmore taught us to decode decades ago. We can monitor their communications in real time." Through intercepted messages, the team learned the true nature of humanity's test. The Zephyrians would begin with a demonstration of superior force, expecting immediate surrender. When that failed, they would deploy ground troops to major population centers, planning to overwhelm human resistance through technological superiority and psychological warfare. "They've done this 47 times before," Dr. Harrison explained. "The pattern is always the same. Display overwhelming power, demand submission, then harvest the compliant population while eliminating resistance leaders. They expect the process to take less than a week." Sarah studied the tactical readouts. "What they don't know is that we've been preparing for 30 years. The plan that emerged from 18 brilliant minds working together was audacious in its simplicity. Rather than engage in direct confrontation with superior numbers, humanity would use deception, superior intelligence, and the element of surprise. The Zephyrians expected primitive humans with chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. They would instead face an enemy that understood their technology, could predict their tactics, and possessed weapons they had never encountered. Dr. Vasquez had developed biological weapons specifically designed to target Zephyrian physiology, based on genetic samples the Kethmore had provided. Their respiratory systems can't filter certain compounds that are harmless to humans. We could deploy these through their own atmosphere processors. Meanwhile, Captain Santos had trained a secret squadron of pilots over the past decade. The Zephyrians rely heavily on automated systems. Their pilots are skilled, but they've become dependent on computer assistance. Our people have been training for manual combat operations specifically. As the team prepared to implement their plan, Dr. Wei intercepted a crucial communication from the Zephyrian fleet commander. The aliens were planning to begin their assault 18 hours early, targeting military installations around the globe to demonstrate their superiority. They're not waiting for the full 72 hours, Dr. Wei announced. First strike begins at 0800 tomorrow. Sarah felt a familiar calm settle over her as she prepared for combat. Then we move tonight. How quickly can we get our people into position? The next few hours saw the most sophisticated military operation in human history unfold in complete secrecy. While world leaders continued emergency sessions and military forces prepared for conventional warfare, 18 individuals coordinated a response that would redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. Captain Santos led the first strike team in modified spacecraft that appeared on no official inventory. Using Kethmore stealth technology, they approached the Zephyrian fleet undetected. The alien ship's sensors, calibrated for conventional human technology, failed to register the approaching craft. Dr. Vasquez deployed her biological agents through the Zephyrian atmospheric systems, while their security protocols focused on detecting explosive or electromagnetic threats. Within hours, alien crew members began experiencing respiratory difficulties that their medical systems couldn't diagnose or treat. Dr. Wei launched a cyber attack that infiltrated Zephyrian command networks, feeding false information about human military capabilities while gathering real-time intelligence about alien battle plans. The misinformation suggested that Earth's resistance would come primarily from nuclear weapons and conventional aircraft, hiding the existence of advanced human technology. As dawn broke over Earth, the Zephyrian commander, Admiral Kethvar, initiated the planned assault with confidence born from 47 previous victories. His ships descended toward military targets around the globe, expecting to face primitive weapons and panicked resistance. Instead, the first Zephyrian attack wing encountered Captain Santos and her squadron flying craft that moved with impossible agility and fired weapons that penetrated Zephyrian shields. The alien pilots, accustomed to technological superiority, found themselves outmaneuvered by human warriors flying ships that responded like extensions of their own bodies. Impossible! Admiral Kethvar roared as his tactical displays showed Zephyrian fighters being systematically destroyed by what should have been inferior human aircraft. How do these primitives possess such technology? Dr. Wei's infiltration of alien communications allowed the human teams to coordinate perfectly, staying one step ahead of Zephyrian responses. As alien ground troops prepared to deploy, they discovered their atmosphere processors had been compromised, leaving them vulnerable to biological agents their systems couldn't detect or counter. The tide of battle shifted rapidly as human forces demonstrated capabilities that defied all Zephyrian intelligence reports. What was supposed to be a simple demonstration of superior force became a desperate fight for survival as the most advanced military force in the galaxy found themselves outgunned and outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive. Colonel Mitchell led ground teams equipped with armor and weapons that could match Zephyrian technology, while Dr. Harrison coordinated strikes that targeted critical systems the aliens believed were invulnerable to human attack. Each success built on the last, as 30 years of secret preparation revealed its true scope. As the first day of battle concluded, Admiral Kethvar faced a situation unprecedented in his species' military history. Nearly 30% of his fleet had been destroyed or disabled. His ground troops were retreating from multiple fronts, and the humans were demonstrating technological capabilities that suggested they were far more advanced than any intelligence report had indicated. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's 3,000 years of protected development had not been wasted, and that the species orbiting Earth had made a crucial error. They had underestimated not just human technology, but the unbreakable will of a people fighting for their home among the stars. Admiral Keth Var stood in his flagship's command center, staring at tactical displays that showed an impossible situation. In 18 hours of combat, his primitive human opponents had destroyed 43% of his invasion fleet. Ships that had conquered 47 worlds now drifted as debris around Earth's orbit, victims of human weapons that shouldn't exist and tactics that defied all previous intelligence. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface," his communications officer reported, her voice tight with barely controlled fear. "It's coming from multiple sources simultaneously, all using our own secure frequencies." The message that filled the command center speakers was delivered in perfect Zephyrian, spoken with an accent that suggested native fluency. "Admiral Keth Var of the 7th Conquest Fleet, this is Colonel Sarah Mitchell of Earth Defense Command. We offer you one opportunity to withdraw your forces and report to the Galactic Council that humanity has successfully passed their evaluation." Keth Var's mandibles clicked in rage and disbelief. These humans knew his name, his rank, and details about Galactic Council protocols that were classified at the highest levels. "How do you possess this information?" Sarah's voice remained calm and professional. "Admiral, your species has conquered 47 worlds using the same tactics, the same weapons, and the same psychological warfare techniques. You've grown predictable. More importantly, you've forgotten that other civilizations might be more advanced than they appear. Dr. Way's infiltration of Zephyrian systems had given humanity access to 47 previous conquest reports, tactical analyses, and detailed information about Zephyrian weaknesses that the warrior species had never bothered to address. Their technology was impressive, but it hadn't evolved significantly in centuries because they had never faced serious opposition. Captain Santos led another wave of human fighters against the Zephyrian fleet's remaining heavy cruisers. The alien ships, designed to intimidate and overpower primitive species, found their shields useless against weapons that targeted quantum frequencies the Keth Moore had taught humans to manipulate. Zephyrian armor that could withstand nuclear explosions cracked under human plasma cannons that operated on principles the aliens didn't understand. Their entire military doctrine is based on technological superiority over primitive species, Dr. Harrison explained to the Global Defense Coordination Center. They've never learned to adapt to equals or superiors because they've never encountered them. Dr. Vasquez's biological weapons had reached full effectiveness throughout the Zephyrian fleet. Alien crew members struggled with respiratory systems that couldn't process their own ship atmosphere after human modifications introduced compounds their evolution had never encountered. Medical officers trained in treating combat injuries had no protocols for biological agents that attacked Zephyrian physiology at the cellular level. The turning point came when Dr. Way executed the final phase of her cyber warfare operations. Rather than simply disrupting Zephyrian systems, she took control of them. Navigation computers began feeding false positional data. Weapons targeting systems developed systematic errors, and life support systems started requiring constant manual intervention. "We're not just fighting them," Dr. Way explained to the Coordination Center. "We're making their own technology fight against them." Admiral Keth Var watched his proud fleet transform from a conquest force into scattered survivors trying desperately to reach minimum safe distance from Earth. The humans weren't just defeating Zephyrian forces. They were systematically dismantling them with surgical precision that suggested intimate knowledge of alien weaknesses. "Admiral," his tactical officer reported, "long-range sensors are detecting incoming vessels. Configuration unknown, but they're approaching at faster-than-light speeds." Sarah's voice filled the Zephyrian command center again, but this time she was speaking to someone else. "Kethmore Command, this is Earth Defense acknowledging your arrival. Human evaluation protocols have been completed successfully. The ships that emerged from hyperspace around Earth were unlike anything Admiral Kethvar had encountered in 3 centuries of military service. Sleek vessels that seemed to bend light around their hulls approached with technology that made Zephyrian achievements look like children's toys. These were the Watchers, the Kethmor, arriving to witness humanity's graduation from protected species to galactic civilization. The lead Kethmor vessel transmitted on frequencies that every ship in the system could receive. The voice that emerged spoke with the authority of a million-year-old civilization. Zephyrian forces, you will cease all hostile operations immediately. The species you have attempted to harvest is under Kethmor protection during their evaluation period. Admiral Kethvar's confusion deepened. The protection period expired. The Galactic Council voted that protected species must prove their worthiness. The Kethmor representative corrected. Humanity has demonstrated technological capability, strategic thinking, and the ability to defeat superior numbers through innovation and adaptation. They have passed their evaluation. Sarah coordinated the final human operations as Kethmor observers monitored every action. Human recovery teams moved through space to assist disabled Zephyrian vessels, providing medical aid and humanitarian support to the same aliens who had planned to harvest their planet hours earlier. It was a demonstration of moral advancement that impressed even the ancient Watchers. Dr. Harrison activated the communication systems that connected Earth to galactic civilization for the first time in 3,000 years. Galactic Council, this is Earth requesting formal application for membership in galactic civilization. We submit our evaluation results and await your response. The data transmitted to the Council included detailed recordings of human tactical innovations, evidence of technological development that matched or exceeded galactic standards, and proof of species-wide coordination in the face of existential threat. More importantly, it showed humanity's capacity for mercy toward defeated enemies and commitment to principles that transcended mere survival. Admiral Kethvar found himself in the unprecedented position of surrender to a species his forces had intended to harvest. As Zephyrian survivors were transferred to human medical facilities for treatment their own ships could no longer provide, he began to understand the magnitude of his miscalculation. Your species fought with honor, Sarah told him during the prisoner exchange. When you return to Zephyrian space, tell your people that Earth remembers its friends and its enemies, but we prefer to make the former whenever possible. The Kethmor representative arrived aboard the human command vessel to conduct the formal evaluation review. The ancient being, whose species had transcended physical form millions of years earlier, manifested as shifting patterns of light that somehow conveyed both wisdom and approval. Humanity has demonstrated all required capabilities for galactic citizenship, the Watcher announced. Technological advancement, strategic capability, species coordination, and moral development. You have earned your place among the stars. Dr. Wei presented the final surprise in humanity's evaluation. We've also developed something the galaxy has never seen before, a hybrid technology that combines human innovation with Kethmor principles and captured Zephyrian systems. We're calling it fusion engineering. The technology demonstration that followed showed human scientists had done more than simply copy alien systems. They had created something entirely new, combining the best elements of multiple civilizations with uniquely human approaches to problem solving. The result was technology that surpassed its individual components, representing exactly the kind of innovation galactic civilization needed. As the formal ceremonies concluded and Earth's membership in galactic civilization was confirmed, the secret project members finally revealed themselves to their own planet's population. The 18 dead heroes emerged from decades of hidden preparation to take their places as humanity's first ambassadors to the galaxy. Colonel Mitchell stood before the United Nations Assembly, no longer needing to hide her survival or her mission. For 30 years, we prepared for this day. We studied alien technology, learned galactic languages, and trained for scenarios we hoped would never occur. Today, humanity takes its first steps into a larger universe, not as conquered subjects, but as equals among the stars. The Zephyrian fleet departed Earth's system under Keth Moore escort, carrying news that would reshape galactic politics. The species that had dominated through military conquest for centuries had been defeated by primitives who turned out to be anything but primitive. Word spread rapidly through galactic civilization that a new power had emerged, one that combined technological advancement with strategic brilliance and unexpected mercy. Earth's first galactic communication arrays came online within weeks, connecting humanity to a universe filled with thousands of civilizations, trade networks spanning light years, and opportunities that previous generations could never have imagined. The 3,000 years of protective silence were over, replaced by humanity's voice joining the cosmic conversation. Dr. Chun, who had first detected the alien signal that started everything, now worked at Earth's primary galactic communications facility. As she monitored the steady stream of messages flowing between Earth and distant worlds, she reflected on how quickly everything had changed. We spent decades searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, she told visiting reporters. We never imagined that when we found it, we discovered we were ready to stand as equals among civilizations that have been traveling the stars since before human civilization began. The galaxy had expected to gain another resource extraction zone, and instead discovered a new power that would reshape interstellar relations. Humanity's successful defense of Earth became legendary, studied in military academies across hundreds of worlds as an example of how innovation, determination, and careful preparation could overcome seemingly impossible odds. As Earth's first interstellar vessels prepared to launch, carrying human explorers to distant worlds and establishing trade relationships with alien civilizations, the question that had driven SETI research for generations finally had its answer. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and after proving themselves among the stars, they never would be alone again. The silence was shattered, and in its place rose the voice of a species that had earned its place among the greatest civilizations in galactic history through courage, ingenuity, and the unshakable belief that some things are worth fighting for, no matter the odds.